Namaskaram. Welcome to the next episode of Pillaiandadi Series. We're going to understand the word by word meaning of Pasuram 9. So, in Pasuram 8, Kumara Varadhacharya has called for all the people who are dwelling and drowning in samsara or in the material world, and they don't even know that they are undergoing a sorrow, but they are thinking they are leading a poi varkai by thinking that they're leading a very beautiful life that is filled with happiness. They don't know what does a blissful life look like, and he's calling for all of them and take refuge at Swami Desikan's feet. Now, in the next Pasuram, that is in Pasuram 9, he tells people, what will you get if you take refuge in Swami Desikan's feet? You will get the best of qualities that are good qualities, and you would be able to dispel all the incorrect qualities or all the qualities that are not desirable. You would be able to get rid of all of them. Let's go through the Pasuram. வணக்கம் ஒடுக்கம் வழக்கம் ஒழுக்கும் இரக்கம் சேரும் இணக்கம் உறக்கம் இழுக்கும் அழக்கும் அழுக்கும் இகந்து நிற்கும் குணக்குலம் ஓங்கும் இராமானுசன் குணம் கூறும் தூப்புல் அணுக்கனை பிள்ளை தனை அரணாக அடைபவர்க்கே. So he's talking about different qualities that are desirable and different qualities that are non-desirable that would actually come to us. The good qualities would come to us and the undesirable qualities would get vanquished from us, and we would be able to identify ourselves as someone who's a follower of Desikan by getting bestowed with all of these qualities. Now, before we go to understand what do each of these qualities mean, let's delve a little bit into why is it important for someone to have good qualities, right? Let's look at 2 or 3 very obvious reasons why we should have good qualities. Now, in the material world itself, we say that you show me your friend and I will tell you what kind of a person you are, right? It is such a statement. It's such a frequent statement that we use quite often, even in the material world. So, which means that your acquaintance shows what kind of choices you make in life and what is your character. And people want to be associated with the right charactered people, so they make the right choice even while making a friend. Imagine if we are calling ourselves as a Bhagavatottama or even a Bhagavata, we are representing ourselves, especially after we get our Samashayanam, we are carrying a Shankha Chakram on our shoulders, which means we are all followers of Perumal and we are followers of the Acharya Guru Parampare. Now, if I behave in an undesirable manner, whom am I going to bring a bad name for? I am actually bringing a bad name for Perumal and for my Acharya Guru Parampare. So it is very, very important for me to have the right conduct if I'm calling myself as Adiyan Ramanuja Dasi, or if I am calling myself as Dasi to Perumal himself, right? So that's the foremost reason. The second reason, if we were to look at it from a personal benefit perspective, in Bhagavata Purana, Parikshit actually has an acquaintance with Kali Purusha. The personification of Kali Yuga comes as a human being, and Parikshit, who was the king back then, he was the last surviving king from the Pandava lineage. He comes in acquaintance with Kali Purusha, and Kali Purusha says that now Kali Yuga is going to start, considering that Bhagavad Krishna has ascended to Vaikuntha. So this is my time to reign, and I will be taking over the entire world. So Parikshit has a conversation with him and he says that you cannot take over the entire world like this. So I will give you, say 10 places that you can dwell, and you choose which are those 10 places, right? So at that point in time, Kali actually chooses all the wrong behaviors as the places where he will dwell. Now, what are these wrong behaviors? We will find out from Bhagavatam. We don't have time to go into all of those details. But it is all wrong behaviors. One who is insulting a woman, one who has extreme desire for gold beyond their requirement, one who has a habit of gambling, one who has a habit of consuming alcohol. These are places where Kali will automatically come and dwell. It's like we are inviting Kali Purushan with an invitation to come and say, come, come, you can come and dwell in me and give me all the sorrows of Kali Yuga. And Kali says, those of them who don't have these bad behaviors, I will not go anywhere close to them. So, for in our own selfish motive, if we don't want to be influenced by Kali's all these problems, we all know as a layman that Kali Yuga is a yuga where everything gets very, very fallen, right? So everything is filled with infiltration and corruption and all of those. And in Kali Yuga, if we want to live a life of a person who lived in Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga, then the only way for us is for us to have immense bhakti towards Perumal, immense bhakti towards our Acharya Parampara, and most importantly, for us to cleanse ourselves and have the right behavior and the right conduct. So that is why it's important for us to get all of these good behaviors and eliminate all the bad behaviors out of our character. Now, Swami Desikan is obviously an abode of all the good qualities. And in fact, when Nammalvar starts his Tirvaimozhi, the very first verse he starts with is Uyar Vara Uyar Nalam Udayavan Yavanavan. So he's starting with his gunam. He's talking about, even when he's talking about Perumal, the first statement he's talking about Uyar Vara Uyar Nalam Udayavan Yavanavan. He's talking about his qualities, which is extremely blemishless, right? Perumal's qualities is something that is asankhya Kalyana Gunaganauga Maharnavam is what Ramanujar says in Gadyatrayam. So he has such groups of wonderful qualities and he's blemishless. And that's how we identify Perumal himself. And similarly, Swami Ramanujar, Swami Desigar, or anybody in our Guru Parampara, whether it's Natha Munigal or Alavandar or anybody, Uyakondar, all of these people have blemishless character. And how do they get that? They get that by constantly cleaning themselves in the contemplation of their own acharyas. So here, let's look at what are the qualities that Kumara Varadacharya says that we will imbibe if we sing the praise of Swami Desikan and if we take refuge at his feet. Let's look at the good qualities first. Vanakkam. Vanakkam means obedience to elders. When we are able to stay obedient to our elders, we are in fact able to build a very harmonious home at home, a harmonious home environment, right? So it's important for us to stay obedient to the elders. Odukkam is the second quality, which means modesty with elders again. We need to be modest, even if I know something more. For example, I might know how does artificial intelligence work, and probably our parents would not know that. Just because they don't know that, it doesn't mean that I throw an attitude at them, but rather I try to teach them in a very modest way because they know so much more than what we know of life experiences. They have definitely traversed more in this material world and gone through so many more sorrows and have more rich experiences than us. So it will give us vanakkam and odukkam. And over here, elders can also be taken as acharyas as well. Anybody who is more elder to us, who is more knowledgeable than us, we need to have vanakkam, obedience, odukkam, modesty with all of them. Varakkam means adherence to tradition. Whatever is the tradition that has been brought forward by in our Sampradayic way or the traditions that are followed in our house, we need to have adherence to such traditions. Orukkam, and this would give rise to good spiritual discipline as well. It is always said in our Sampradayam that Anushtanam is extremely important because it cleanses our mind. When we do every work of ours with Satvika Thyaga, which means that I'm not the doer, but I'm doing this as a Kainkaryam to the Divya Dampatis, then that brings in a lot of it cleanses our heart. And that Anushtanam by itself gives us Swarupa Jnanam and therefore improves our Jnanam overall, right? So we've looked at 4 qualities so far: Vanakkam, Odukkam, Varakkam, Ozukkam. Irakkam is the 5th quality. Irakkam is compassion towards all beings. Now, when we look at even someone in the day-to-day world, how do we call someone as a good person? Is if they are very compassionate. If we are seeing somebody else struggle, and if we just give them a cold shoulder and we walk past, we wouldn't be labeled as someone who has good qualities. Rather, if I'm able to have compassion towards other beings, this is not other human beings, but this is about all jivatmas, right? If I see an animal, an insect, or even a mosquito that is being trapped, then how can I have that compassion towards every jivatma who has come here is what is so important for us to develop. I've seen and heard from many acharyas where they wouldn't even use the mosquito bat to shoo away the mosquitoes, even though the mosquitoes are biting them. Rather, they look at each one of them as a jivatma, and they would help them find their way out of the place where they are staying, or they first try to safeguard themselves from the mosquito harming them, but they don't harm the mosquito. Even some such small insects like mosquitoes, which we take it for granted because they're so small, but we have to remember that that is also a jivatma, and we need to be compassionate towards them as well. So 5 qualities we've seen so far: Vanakkam, being obedient towards elders; Odukkam, modesty with elders; Varakkam, adherence to tradition; Ozukkam, good spiritual discipline; Irakkam, compassion towards all beings; Serum, come to themselves. Those good qualities will come to the people who take refuge at the lotus feet of Swami Desika. It's not only Ishta Prapti, but it is also Anishta Nivritti. So we will also get rid of those qualities which are not good for us. Let's look at the next list of qualities which would be dispelled from our character. Inakkam means bad company. If at all we have gotten into bad company of any people who don't exhibit these characteristics, these bondages would automatically get cut off once we take refuge at Swami Desikan's feet. Urakkam. Urakkam, the literal meaning is sleep. But here it means ignorance, worldly sorrows due to ignorance. Now, it is very important for us to understand that when we say that the Swami Desikan will protect us, when we say that Perumal will protect us, how does he protect us? He protects us by giving us the right knowledge at the right time. That is what is protection. He gives us the knowledge of what is really happening over there. Is that something that I could contribute to for the situation to get better? Am I here to help somebody out? Or what is the lesson that I need to learn from this particular situation? This is the kind of knowledge that he gives in the form of protection for us to get rid of all the sorrows that are there in this material world. So Inakkam is bad company. Urakkam is worldly sorrows that arise due to ignorance. Irikkum means all the blemishes in our character, like not having Trikarna Shuddhi. What we think is what we should speak. What we speak should show in action. Now, it's easy for me to say that, but Adian myself doesn't have all of this Trikarna Shuddhi. I'm only being a messenger over here, but don't have any of these good qualities myself. So irikkum means all these blemishes that are there in our character, we will have to get rid of them with the help of Swami Desikan's feet. Arukkum means impurity in our minds. We might take bath every day to clean our body, but then how are we taking out the impurity that is accumulated in our mind? Listening to Bhagavatam, listening to a lot of stories of Perumal himself, listening to Krishna Cheshtitam, listening to all our Acharyas, Guru Paramparai, all of these have such an invaluable place in removing these impurities in our mind. And when we use our ears for the right purpose of Shravanam, of the right things, then obviously whatever is the residue of all the impurities that we have, those will also get erased, right? So we've seen 4 qualities that are undesirable so far. Inakkam, which is bad company. Urakkam, worldly sorrows due to ignorance. Irukkum are blemishes. Arukkum is impurity. Ihanda means those will be dispelled. Nirkum, and they will be dispelled and they will be sent out far away, stand. Right. So those are the bad qualities or the undesirable qualities that would automatically be washed away from our character. And what would happen? Guna kulam ongum, the good qualities, the groups of good qualities, similar to Swami Desikan, will start growing in us. And it's important for us to say, for us to note that he's not talking about just gunangal ongum. He's talking about guna kulam ongum, which means groups and groups of good qualities will start dwelling in us. And when will it dwell in us? Iramanusan gunam kurum tupul. So again, it is not Swami Desikan who is standing here as just a single Acharya, but he who is dwelling with the auspicious qualities of Bhagavat Ramanuja. Only Swami Desikan who has Ramanujar in his heart. And Ramanujar here is a representation of the entire Guru Parampara. Thupul Anukkanai Pillaitanai, one who incarnated in Thupul, the supreme Bhagavata called Swami Vedanta Desika. Aranaha Adaibavarke. So those who attain him as refuge and who seek his lotus feet as the supreme refuge for living in this material world and not being afflicted by any of the sorrows of this material world, and be able to lead a life where the good qualities continue to grow, the groups of good qualities continue to grow in us, so that when we are identified as someone who is Ramanujadasi or Ramanujadasan, or we are someone who is subservient to Perumal and the Divya Dampati, then we are only showcasing all the good qualities, and thereby we don't bring a bad name to them, and we are able to get rid of all the bad qualities in us. Therefore, what is Kumara Varadacharya telling us? Therefore, take refuge in Swami Desikan and live an uplifted life, right? So that is when we would be able to lead a very blissful life, is what he is telling us. So may all of us start looking inward and look at what are the qualities that we are accumulating on a day-to-day basis, and continue to contemplate on Swami Desikan. And just by reading the verses of Pillaiandadi, now that we're trying to understand the word-by-word meaning, when we're reading, we can actually rejoice and relive the meaning of each of these verses and improve our Acharya Bhakti. And that by itself is going to eliminate all of these bad qualities. When bad qualities are gone, good qualities automatically come in. Acharyas say that there could be a cave that has been in darkness for several years. Would it take, because it's been in darkness for several years, does that mean that I'll have to light lamp for that many years for that darkness to go away? Not really. If I just light one lamp over there, and the minute the lamp is lit, the darkness is dispelled, right? So similarly, if all the bad qualities go away, that means all the good qualities will find its way into our heart, and thereby we can also call ourselves as someone who is a very good follower of Perumal Tayar and the Acharya Paramparai, and hopefully they will be proud to have us as their followers, and we don't bring any ill name to any of these people. May Acharyas bless us with filling our hearts with the right qualities and the right conduct, and for us to not have any dvandvam in our character, but for us to have complete Trikarana Shuddhi, so that we're able to think the right thing, we're able to speak what we think as the right thing, and our actions also speak what we are committing to do. So may the Acharyas bless us. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimate Nigamanta Mahadeshikaya Namaha. Dhanyos.